by Legacy. And Carbon, I believe, has played his last 6 games on the champion, now wants to get rid of it. Shelby, of course, pretty practiced Gragas player, but an interesting ban on the blue side. Is Malzahar going to follow, and Braum taken away by AV.
Yeah, so a reminder, we are on patch 6.15, and Malzahar did see some touch-ups, arguably not good enough to be banned anymore, yet still being respected and taken away from the side of AV. Triple has done a lot of work on the champion, as has Shelby with the Gragas, and really just trying to remove a single combo here is Legacy.
Yeah, we'll see whether it is going to work. Is Vladimir banned away as well, another champion that received a couple of nerfs here on 6.15. That's Sanguine Pool now having a little bit longer of a cooldown, and his movement speed has been kicked back just a little bit. But Bard is the follow-up ban here on the side of Legacy, and Soraka, aimed at Kuden, is going to leave the Rift. So still a lot of big picks available, and Legacy goes straight for the Jhin.
Surprisingly important pick up here. Chenny Boy has been very successful when playing Jhin.
Yeah.
As AV wastes no time in locking in a jungler.
God, yeah, and the Cassiopeia for the mid lane as well. Of course, a pick away from Choose, but Triple, a fantastic Cass player at the same time. See whether it's going to work. Of course, the Rek'Sai makes a heck of a lot of sense. Shelby always goes back to it. No Gragas, may as well be on the Rek'Sai.
And the other thing is Carbon plays like every champion is Rek'Sai to an extent. The Elise, basically the only standing jungler that he may revert towards.
Well, they have already locked in the Trundle and Talia. This is going extraordinarily fast as Choose opts into that mid lane matchup against the Cassiopeia. We'll see how it works.
Yeah, picking the Talia. Confidence pick actually here out of Choose. Not only does he know the matchup, but has been playing a lot of the champion. Between Cass and Talia, 2 of OPL's most prevalent champions at present.
Yeah.
Not only that, the Trundle with the Jhin. Quite a unique combo. One of the few champions that can support and top lane all the same. But most likely to be seen in that support role with the Jhin, because the Trundle pillar does 1 true damage, can make them aggravated, and the Jin's W can lock you down. Also, the slow that comes out of it and the displacement is quite predictable.
Yeah, I do like the fact that it's still flexible as well, because Talia has played the champion quite a lot. And at the moment, AV looking at that bottom lane, and Legacy will be able to decide exactly what they want to throw at it. It's Triple. He's going to find the Karma for Jake. Definitely a comfort pick for him. We heard Froskarin talking about it on the desk, as Chenny Boy goes back to the Ezreal now that his Jhin was picked away, and that's a Nidalee pick locked in straight away, and it is going to be the support Trundle as King takes Aurelia for Tally.
Yeah, Legacy wastes no time.
No time at all.
In all of their champions. They definitely had a plan. That Aurelia has been locked in, blind, knowing that Paradise and Red Side will get that last pick, and it does take the Aurelia away from Paradise. And if we want to talk about how AV got through their tiebreakers, I think it's safe to say it was Paradise and Aurelia as the combo.
I believe the last game he played on Aurelia was a 13-0-3.
Yes.
And that is just pretty ridiculous. The moment hovering the ribbon, we'll see whether Paradise does go towards it, because of course you can't really throw that one away because he's played it already.
He does have the Fiora as the counter pick into Aurelia. We've seen it successful multiple times now in the OPL, but aside from that, Paradise is a standout Echo, which isn't ideal into Aurelia, Nah, which also isn't ideal into Aurelia, but it depends if they want his matchup or if they want the team composition. Knowing AV, it's usually his matchup.
Well, of course, Jax hasn't been banned as well. Was generally banned away from Paradise every single time, but it is going to be the Riven. The gauntlet's been thrown. Of course, Tally was the original OPL Riven main. Now Paradise has turned up, of course, also a bit of an advocate for the champion, and they are going to be your comps right there. Lots of carry potential on the top side of the map. We were going to say top lane is going to be a big focus in this whole series.
Yeah, definitely is going to be. We're going to continue to highlight Paradise versus Tally, 2 of the standout carries of their team. Not only that, we've got Choose and Carbon against Shelby and Triple, the dynamic duos. The wild card's always going to get thrown in that bottom lane that we have to highlight King's performances as of late. Chenny's starting to rise and do more and more, and King isn't all that confident against him. But this really could go either way based off laning matchups, which is surprising to say.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous, as well as the fact that they just match up in such a cool fashion. I mean, you got a lot of utility there towards the bottom side of the map. Makes a heck of a lot of sense. Choose on the Talia into Triple's Cassiopeia. A lot of skill shots need to be landed. A lot of explosive activity to happen there in the mid lane. Top lane needs no further introduction. Just ridiculous as far as Riven versus Aurelia is concerned. I think a lot of this has to do with the jungle, and the Rek'Sai, who wants to be farming up, has a bit more of that, I guess, gank pressure with the knock-up against the Nidalee coming out of Carbon, which has had a bit of changes on this patch.
Yeah, definitely. Nidalee's slightly different. Of course, her clear's only been affected by about look, 4 seconds total after experimenting with it. Not a big deal. On the opposite side, though, there's a higher inclination towards ganking. If you look at the Rex side, Nidalee, maybe a counter ganker or just vision control wants to keep Chelby down. And it will be quite interesting to watch this dynamic unfold. Can Carbon control Chelby, or will he just run away with the entire game?
Yeah, and will he be able to get that counter jungling happening? So we can see the players about to hop onto the Rift for our first semi-final match. Avantgarde taking on Legacy, 4th versus 1st. And remember, this is an OPL Legend match at the same time. See whether Legacy are going to be able to hold on to it as we move forward. But now, onto the Rift. We'll see where things are going to start. Of course, remember, we did hear about it from the desk, but not a lane swap meta anymore, Rusty.
That's right, 6.15. They have changed the turret strength, 50% fortification, but it only lasts for 5 minutes instead of 7. However, there's first blood bonuses for turrets being taken. And so that fortification bonus is actually a lot. When you really think about it, the amount of gold that a top laner gets in one hit, if they take the turret, is about 550 gold. And if they go back to standard, you're basically out of the lane. And between an Aurelia and a Riven, neither of them want to get pushed out of lane because that lane goes one of 2 directions. You're either 10-0 or you're 0-10.
Yep, it goes that way pretty damn fast as well. As I believe it was Paradise versus Ryu in this matchup. Did not go so well in the laning phase. However, Hellions didn't do so bad when it came to the mid game, and Riven was still Riven.
That's the interesting thing, right? Like, yes, it was Hellions, and perhaps AV were being slightly disrespectful in the way they played it out with the lead that they had. But the Riven is good through the laning phase we saw from him. He definitely can continue to pressure the 1v1. But the second team play is involved. The Aurelia, you would expect, is more of a standout champion.
Yeah, think about the backline dive threat with the Blade Surge. You don't really have one of those when you're a Riven. You're just bouncing all over people.
You have the flash. Very flash-reliant champion. Boots of Lucidity are usually core for that reason.
At the moment, you can see Legacy choose just pushing out this mid lane, much as Talia does want to do. Triple just doing his very best to farm things up and does so very effectively. As the laning phase is going to start. Carbon over on his blue side of the map. Red start here for Chelby.
He's looking for them.
Oh, doesn't get one.
Does find Chelby, though, accidentally. He was looking to take the 3 chickens. It was like a cheeky maneuver, something that Talia can do, much like a Zit, just a little bit more efficient if you are the Talia. And didn't hard push in, so actually kept like a 3-minion advantage, opposed to just pushing it in, denying minions under the top.
Well, of course, knowledge of where the jungler is important, as Jake takes a lot of damage from that dancing grenade.
And you can watch Carbon's movements now. He knows where Chelby is, assumes they're red side, so Talia will probably go and place his ward within the next 10 to 15 seconds, depending on his lane.
Yep. Carbon, interestingly, goes for the 0 keystone build. Does that look sort of like a, I'm not entirely sure, like a 999 or something like that? I don't know how many masteries you're
Do you want to have 12 in a particular tree? So it could be like a 12, 12, 6
yeah, 12,
page.
12, 6, something like that.
That's going to be my guess.
Well, it's interesting. Carbon is going to smite away his red buff, and we'll see how it works out as he moves throughout this game.
About to full clear at 3 minutes and roughly 20 odd seconds, so still doing it extremely quickly.
Yeah. Of course, the biggest takeaway from Nidalee was that auto reset as Chelby looking for the knockup, gets the flash as Triple throws down the miasma, but maybe a little bit late, but good summoner spell gained here by AV.
Yeah, good summoner spell. Chelby actually trading it, however. There's always an opportunity to return.
Speaking of opportunity, Jake has to get the heal out of Chenny Boy. He's still incredibly low. First blood comes in as King flashes for it. Now Chenny in trouble. Kuden running himself away as another dancing grenade does a lot of damage, and Legacy own this bottom lane.
Yeah, the immediate reaction and movement from Legacy's 2v2, not only knowing where Chelby was, but knowing that he couldn't be there, and that's a confidence play out of Legacy. They come out on top because of this. That's strong for their bottom lane, however we still look towards Chelby.
Yes, Talia gets a nice equilibrium strike with Paradise winning this trade, utilizing that passive very effectively.
Paradise having a great time right now. Of course, it was the 1 potion to the 3 of the corrupting to the Doran's shield, but that missing, I think it's 8 damage with every auto attack. Starting to hurt Talia a little bit, it seems. Paradise doing well.
Looks like that block mechanic as well helping out with the Doran's shield as Carbon just leaps over towards this Krug camp. Will continue to do well. Oh, Choo-Choo's unable to grab it with the size of the shot.
Be careful. Like a tunnel, you can't flash away.
Yeah, certainly doesn't as well as he gets slowed by the red buff. Triple's ghosting over right now as the Q does come down. Triple flashes, the miasma's down, and Choo's is just going to die. AV answer that first blood from Legacy.
So he used his one tool of keeping Chelby away from him to try and steal the Raptor, opposed to any other spell. Pretty easy to capitalize on that. Big mistake from Choose.
Yeah, it's an odd one. His Tally looks to try and get some damage back onto Paradise here, but continues to not do so well in these trades, but better than we were expecting.
I think if Chelby ever threatens here, though, note that he's too low to do so. Tally would have been pushed away from the turret, and because of the gank that they just put down, because of the fact that Chelby's too low, Tally's able to hang around. He will be a W max Aurelia, and so has a fair bit of sustain from auto attacks. But Paradise has complete control of this next wave. Things still even out well enough for Legacy, considering.
Yeah, we'll see whether Tally teleports back up to this lane as well to make sure that he doesn't miss out on that minion wave. Sheen's picked up, so aggressive start here for the Aurelia. We'll keep that minion alive, and Paradise going to go back home.
Yep, so they'll share recalls. Of course, only one wave the difference between the two. Forced teleport is the major difference, though, for Tally. Paradise has the option right now of either walking or teleporting. Chooses to match because he can afford to do so, but Carbon's also here. And with this item spike that Paradise got, perhaps he has a confidence play that could come back to hurt him, because there's actually 4 people here.
Yeah, everyone coming towards the top side of the map. Carbon's going to head in.
Make that
the
5.
The Qs are going to be used. Takedowns there. Kuden's going to turn up as well as Chu. Seismic Shove doesn't find it as the pause comes in at the most inopportune time. I have a feeling King probably will be able to find that Deadly Flourish because it looked pretty good to me. We'll see whether it actually works out. Oh my goodness, very intense.
Yeah, definitely not the best moment to pause if you're Paradise. For Legacy, it does look like they're going to be able to get themselves that first blood, but that's not only the first thing that they will get. Sorry, first blood. First turret blood is what I was actually trying to say. You get it bonus gold on that. And that was an immediate lane swap at 5 minutes after the fortification buff was gone on these turrets. Very proactive move.
Yeah, and Legacy looking like they know exactly what they're doing here on 6.15 as well. Understanding that now that that turret is vulnerable, they want to be able to get that extra gold. Makes a lot of sense to just send 5 people up there. And if you can keep down a Riven at the same time, beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely right. So very strong movements at the moment from Legacy. Not only do they get the kill in their bottom lane, the only real blundering point for them at present is actually their mid lane, where Choose is playing too forward, too aggressive, and actually trying to keep Chelby down, or at least vision of where he is, actually contesting every single Raptor camp. It's gotten him killed. Yeah,
it's a little bit of an interesting one as well, just because he probably doesn't need to necessarily go any further than finding out that the Rek'Sai is there. Maybe steal a little one and then walk away. And the Seismic Shove utilized to try and steal it. Probably unnecessary, as you mentioned before, but we'll see whether Triple's going to be able to capitalize, because Cassiopeia can snowball at the same time.
And has the Ghost as the big summoner spell used from the cast, so still has the summoners to kill him, still has a lot of damage in a 1v1 capacity, and the real issue to me was Choose using his W to try and keep down Raptors, means he's losing his escape or disengage tool for himself. I think once that level 6 point comes around, Chelby should come back, should actually try and pick up on that, and perhaps his flash won't be there next time as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned level 6 as well. I mean, we do have to mention that Talia, a little bit of a nerf as far as her ultimate is concerned, slightly higher cooldown on the Weaver's Wall, but still will have all of that added utility. And how do you reckon Legacy's team composition is going to work utilizing that particular spell? Because it is a big one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really cool moment where they're moving to right now where they could have perhaps looked towards using the Weaver's Wall, getting top lane and diving Paradise, but they seem to have got it locked down of their own choice. And at this stage, I feel like the next play will involve the Talia ultimate, the next Weaver's Wall that will come out, and there's a lot of utility behind it, strictly because they can start sieging, and when one turret's broken, they can either make the move for the second, or they can swap lanes, go bottom, do the exact same thing, and that's a unique utility that a Cassiopeia can't match.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and I actually do, as we do make our way back in, Paradise was able to flash out of the way of the Deadly Flourish, had a lot of time to make sure that he'd be able to get that flash, thought he was already able to use it. The Legacy will get priority on this turret.
Yeah, very well done to get out, but you have to remember, as we said, turrets now being traded. The immediate move from AV is towards the bottom side of the rift, but that move is going to be costly for them when you think of the gold that Tally's now about to acquire for himself when he chooses to auto-attack the turret.
Yeah, just massive. Just making sure that he denies as many creeps as possible from Paradise, who, like you said, did well to hold on to his life. Certainly won't hold on to his turret, as now Rift Herald's going to be taken. We'll see whether Tally comes down and picks that one up as well, because that's going to put Aurelia in such a good position.
Yeah, that's actually disgusting. They're now making this move. Tally down here indicates they are giving it to him. From this, that's about, was it 400 bonus gold, so 250 local gold, 25 bonus, so 275, and then another 275. So 550 golds now Tally's that he can go back and buy with a Rift Herald buff. That guy is huge.
He's gigantic. Paradise was singing his praises. This guy has been a massive carry force for Avant. Well, he's just started up hard mode up against Tally, and we'll see whether it's going to be good enough. Shelby is able to lock himself down the Dragon. Tower did fall, I believe, on the bottom side of the map here for AV at the same time, so evening that one up. But they are still behind. Tally, level 6. Paradise also hits that mark.
Yeah, remember Tally may have the buff, but he hasn't recalled yet with any money spikes, of course, stuck here due to the wave that is now pushing in towards him. You can see the difference between the two now. Very much indicative of what's just happened.
Yeah, 700. As Paradise tries to deny the cannon and does so. Very nicely done. As you can see, lane swap ensuing once again.
Yeah, so AV now making a move towards the top side of the map, spotted by Vision. Of course, Jakey just walking through that red buff ward that Shelby's now on. They will be announced towards Legacy that they are coming here, but a level 7 Aurelia should have enough power in the ulti to clip the back wave and trim the minions before they arrived, and does so.
Yeah, at the moment, going to be heading back to base. Shelby thinking about getting into position for a dive, but there's not going to be anyone there to dive. A little bit unfortunately.
Yep, so he has to go. They will be fast, though, doing this. They have got 4 people now actively pushing the turret down. The response from Legacy is only 2 members strong.
King and Kuden still have a fair bit of damage. A few extra minions there as well as AV take this one down in the nick of time. Right as that last caster creep dies. Now King will be able to deny these minions and pick up the turret himself. So 2 for 2. Legacy still with a pretty big lead. The seismic shove doesn't find triple.
Yeah, the continuation of the turrets being taken has been commenced, but now that both outer turrets are gone, the real question mark that always taints a lot of teams is, how do we break mid, or do we even bother breaking mid? How does the lane assignments go for farm? Legacy notoriously want to get 2 freezes, they want to get Tally going. They also want King to farm up, whereas AV usually just preference Paradise with that farm, and Chenny's kind of just stuck to go mid.
At the moment, he is trying to farm things out here on the bottom side,
I mean,
but
look
can't
how
get to the
hesitant
minion
he
wave.
is.
Yeah, exactly right.
Just hanging out.
It's like, no. In a turret. This is where I feel safe. I feel safe here.
The other thing is he's a tier champion against the Aurelia, which is the lane assignments right now.
Yeah.
So if you even look at Aurelia funny, she'll chunk your health bar.
She's got a Phage and a Sheen now as well, so well and truly towards that Trinity Force. Very frightening. Let's choose. Decided to take the teleport at the same time.
Yeah. Ups towards a lot of map movement. So
yeah,
has his ulti, also has his teleport. Compare that to Triple, who's gone for the Ghost and the Flash. Can't really get around Summoner's Rift as efficiently, but has a lot of lane power as he's just a Cassiopeia in general.
Yep, that'll do it.
And as you can see, reflected through the CS difference.
Yeah, 102 to 84 right now, close to a 20 CS lead. In fact, right now, is at that 20 CS point. Double tiers on this squad though, so of course looking for the Seraph's Embrace and the Manamune from both of these guys. Shenny Boy and Triple will hit relatively similar item spikes, theoretically, with those two.
As have junglers. Relative to each other, it's a Cinder Hulk to the Runic Echoes.
Yeah.
Of course, Carbon usually accelerates his jungle clear speed with this first item spike that he has achieved. And so there may be a lot more movements from him proactively around Summoner's Rift. However, Chelby's always got the added utility of his ultimate, where he can just screech and work his way across the rift.
Yeah, slightly more, I guess, global presence from the Rek'Sai, which is probably going to come in handy against Legacy's double teleport composition, allowing Shelby to answer. But Killer goes down, tunnels out of the way, does Shelby, as Paradise and Tally facing off one more time. Paradise now with the level advantage after spending some time towards the top side on his own.
Yeah, but this is a good movement from Legacy if they're able to pressure it out. It means that Paradise doesn't get the Soul XP and the Soul CS, where the Aurelia had just stacked up a wave and pushed it in towards him. So they're able to deny potential freezes or a lot of pressure secured by AV, and that's how they break the freeze. Legacy aren't a team that's just going to walk at you and dive you. Instead, they're going to pressure you out and just try and macro.
Make sure that they can get things done. At the moment, moving back towards this mid lane as Tally and Choose just clearing out wave after wave. Triple, of course, with plenty of wave clear, going to be able to deal with this wave just fine. Legacy not opting to do anything more. Jake hanging out here as well, setting up the minions adorably.
What a nice bloke.
Yeah, fantastic. There's a bunch of work ground here in the mid lane, but Talia moves herself back in. Morello and Omicron almost done for both of our mid laners. Choose probably pretty close to it right now.
Yeah, and also the fact that the Cassiopeia is now starting to branch out, I suppose, in itemization choices and go for the Morellos. It's very different because originally it was the tier into like a Rylai's. We have a lot of utility there. You can slow everybody down. But people are starting to put a lot more value and emphasis on having that cooldown reduction, having that mana regeneration. Is Paradise now in trouble?
Yeah, most certainly is. Nice double stun, but is it going to be enough as he's dashing forward? The flash comes out. Will he have an E? And he does. Chelby is going to get here in time as Carbon's going to get knocked up. Wind Slash comes through as Chooses looking for the damage.
How is he
doesn't quite find it. Nice stun comes in, but Paradise eventually falls. Chelby gets out. My goodness, that was close from Paradise.
Yeah, that man has a lot of cooldown reduction, and he lived for far too long. Almost gets out if it wasn't for Choo-Choo's making his way in. And again, that's the major difference between our mid laners. That is definitely reflected in a second kill now gained by Legacy.
Yeah, the first death for Paradise, but fortunately, still not having a great time. Equal on farm, but that Trinity Force will be coming in very, very soon. And there won't be the black cleaver to answer it.
And it's a similar principle, actually, as to what Fiora does in beating Aurelia. Is you hit that black cleaver spike before a Trinity Force, and you start to scale and push them out of lane around that point. That's where you really start to accelerate in the 1v1. However, because they put more resources into Tally, they try and set him up for success. Legacy are able to at least match the timing of that item spike.
As once again, we do have a slight pause. Of course, the next dragon will be an Infernal Drake as well, as you saw Chelby taking that Rift Scuttler. The next dragon probably going to be one that both of these teams want. And if we're looking at these compositions as far as power spikes in the early game, are we looking at Legacy having control here potentially over this Dragon Pit, or are we thinking AV might have a chance to get their way back in with the 5v5?
I mean, current signs point towards actually just having an advantage towards Legacy, but AV have always got the availability of at least the 4v4. The real question mark to me is, can they avoid the 5v5? If they actually have the Aurelia involved, then Chenny's just not long for this Earth in general. Also, Tali is able to get to the backline, or at least deny the backline from doing damage. I feel like any kind of fight for an objective in a neutral capacity, so the Dragons or the Barons, where the Weaver's Wall is actually able to be utilized, then it could cause a lot of concern for AV. So they want to ideally either start the objective off themselves or just avoid it in general and try and win the 1v1 or push somewhere else and find advantages.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, you know, Cassiopeia now coming out of the mid lane here for AV, phenomenal neutral control, and could be an opportunity here for AV to put a little bit of a win condition on these Dragon pickups. With an Infernal Drake coming up, that is fantastic moving into the late game.
Absolutely, and any team composition with a Jhin for one team wants to have the Infernal, and any composition with a Cass wants it for the opposite team. So at the moment, AV and Legacy are just going to be looking at the Dragon Pit and saying, yep, that could be a good one.
Most certainly could. Of course, Riven scales phenomenally well with an Infernal Drake at the same time. Of course, you even get survivability from picking up AD, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons that Riven, even in that last engagement, used his ultimate. Because you can just show up and actually get a bigger shield that people aren't expecting to see. And again, one of the major reasons that he lived for as long as he did, simply because you can press your R key, give yourself AD, press a giant shield.
Yeah, and it worked quite effectively until, of course, Choo-Choo's turned up, picked up the kill. And Choos, this is a player that we've been talking about improving a lot over the last little while, and has certainly managed to clear things up after that earlier death that he suffered at the hands of Triple as he ghosted after him as that Snake Lady, and always able to move around the map. We'll see whether Choos continues it as this game goes on.
Looks like one of the big differences between these mid laners is Choos, as the split has progressed, is inclined more and more towards actually leaving his lane and just having an impact with the rest of his team. Because if he can protect Carbon or protect Tally or empower either, then Legacy looks better.
Legacy at the moment looking at the Infernal Drake. Paradise does have teleport. Choo-Choos makes his way over. You can see Aurelia on the top side of the map, but this Dragon's just going to be given up. True Shot Barrage attempts to go for some sort of a steal, but Chenny not too lucky on that one. He's going to find Carbon with a cute little Mystic Shot there.
Yeah, best case scenario was a steal there from Chenny. Paradise yet to get his Black Cleaver. Tally has a full Trinity Force available to him, so teleport influence would have been massive from the side of Legacy. Not only that, Tally was invisible to the map as he was walking back from the base with that item spike. And so they can't really afford to look for a 4v4, try and push their way in, or even 4v4 at this point would have been risky given that it's a Ghostblade Jhin opposed to components on an Ezreal who's now just got his mana immune.
So decent spike for Chenny, but you're right.
Not comparable.
No. Dangerous now coming out from AV because they're falling further and further behind. It's close to 3,000 gold the lead. here at 15 minutes in, and it just looks like Legacy, as they are wont to do oftentimes, are just organically winning the game at this point. And AV need to do something in order to stop that from happening.
Yeah, it feels like Legacy came into this with a reasonable battle plan. Nothing outrageous or outlandish has happened whatsoever. It's just clean League of Legends from our blue side. AV is still a scaling composition. You need to consider that the Riven does want items.
Whoa, Triple just yells at Choose.
Unlucky.
But Choose wasn't listening.
Notice me.
Yeah.
Triple was saying.
She's like, oh, no. Not this time.
Today. Unfortunate. Really is. Triple's now, because the ultimate's gone, it means that Choose has the same strength as Triple in laning phase. It's the one big difference between these control mages. Choose has just got a giant wall that he pushes out. Doesn't do damage and stun you.
Jake going to try and hold on to his pink ward. Doesn't. Carbon, with the help of his troll friend Kuden, are going to be able to clear that one out. And as we check into the CS as far as our junglers are concerned, Shelby lagging behind a little bit from Carbon, who's been very aggressive in his invading and maneuvering around this jungle. Spear doesn't find Chenny. Continues to look to clear. Oh, nice shield comes out, and Chenny actually likes his chances here. Spear goes wide, and Carbon looks to leave.
Yeah, I mean, even wanted to go forward a little bit there, Chenny. Doesn't mean he'll be okay when it comes to the 3v3, however. Jin able to have that long-range lockdown, so if Chenny ever used the spell forward, he was probably going to die there. Again, Legacy now starting to make moves as more than just the 2v2 or 3v3, utilizing their global capabilities.
Triple has that ultimate back off cooldown now as well, thanks to the extra cooldown reduction in the Morellonomicon. And Legacy are going to back away. Do not want to go for anything that AV can set themselves up for.
At this stage, I'm calling it the Omni.
Oh, yeah?
Miss an ultimate, it's a zoning ultimate. Because that was like Omni's best utility when he played Cat. It was banned from him. Every time that he found an opportunity to use the ultimate, it just wouldn't stun people. Or it would sometimes just miss. Yeah. But usually it was to push them away from something that like Tainted Mind still got successfully. It just feels wrong seeing somebody use the ultimate that way.
It's almost like how Swiffy uses it. He doesn't use it as a form of CC at all. He uses it as a big damage ability and does so, you know, killing people underneath their turrets. Paradise going to get aggressed on. There's the Weaver's Wall coming in as well as Paradise gets himself a decent stun, but he's going down so low. Tally's going to slow him down with the Equilibrium Strike, and Choose once again takes down Paradise.
Yeah, best case scenario for Paradise there was just no assist for Choose, and that doesn't even come true for him. This is not the situation that AV win games of League of Legends in. This is a sign of the experienced Legacy now making plays.
Yeah, and King going to throw down the ultimate here. Curtain Call flies through. Oh my goodness, the ultimate once again not going to find anyone. This is a really nice Weaver's Wall coming out of Choose.
Was that the knockback from Choose that actually moved the Cass ult away from them?
It felt like that. Not entirely sure whether it even supposed to work that way. Carbon's super dead. Yeah, Triple's going to be able to pick up that kill, so nice follow-up. Navy looking to try and hold on to this turret. Will have a better time doing so now without the cat lady.
Yeah, as in they can actually do it now. They just took an advantage. Legacy and Carbon just ran into a brick wall with it. That doesn't actually get you the turret, unfortunately. Was trying to place vision, set his team up for a siege. But that eventual siege is thwarted early in its advances by the damage that Triple can still put out. He doesn't need the ultimate to do that damage. The Twin Fangs is his major crux.
Yep. Hasn't actually been back to base in quite some time as well. Currently sitting at just over 200 CS at 18 minutes. And we mentioned scaling on the side of AV. Well, that has a lot to do with the Cassiopeia. And she's killing a hell of a lot of minions.
Yeah, one big, it's still going to come back into this. Triple's going to be big. Chenny will eventually get to a point where he's big as well. Still just 3 zeros in his scoreline, and he's getting his items. Wants that big 2-item spike. It's still Paradise. Let's still compare Paradise to Tally and how AV win League of Legends. They've even sculpted themselves with this strong 4-man team composition where eventually Paradise can come in with flanks and assassinate people. But what it means is that realistically, Legacy look better now in a 5v5. But it comes down to if Paradise can still assassinate people whilst being 0-2, and I think he can. It's more that he just can't 1v1 to set up the waves as efficiently anymore.
Nor win that sort of 1v1 matchup in a side lane as well. I mean, we saw that Tally was able to take that one against Paradise regardless. And it has a lot to do with their win conditions that we've been seeing from AV over the most recent games. Very scary. And Shelby at the moment setting himself up around this dragon. 13 seconds until the Ocean Drake spawns.
Yeah, first step's the blue buff. They are trying to contest that one. If you get it off the cast, you'd be quite happy for the side of Legacy.
Oh, that pillar, what a troll. Carbon lands the spear, looking for that takedown smite combo for a heck of a lot of secure. Spear, he's going to hit Shelby, blocks it out of the way, and he's just going to take the blue for himself. Cassiopeia was needed in the mid lane.
Yep, so denied, as the spear even gets denied, but Legacy now move towards this Drake. They take it out with the 5-man roster within reaching distance of the pit.
Yeah, Crucial Barrage flies through once again as Carbon just primarily surges himself back to relative health bar. And we'll be able to secure that one. Legacy off to the side here, have a pink ward for the added vision as Seismic Shove doesn't find anyone who's going to show his face and say, yeah, no, we're not going to find anything here.
It's still a pretty cool composition from Legacy. So what they put together, the original iteration of the Talia we saw from them was a Zir Talia, where Talia was a top laner. This time around, it's actually Trundle with the Talia mid, where you can still displace Earth and actually cause a lot of problems when it comes to either sieges or team fights where Legacy are an advantage. Think about the Weaver's Wall or the Talia W combined with the Trundle Pillar. You're going to lock them down, displace them, and slow them massively. The things will have to get burnt defensively.
Yeah, and I really like it as well as blocking off King from the rest of AV at the same time. He doesn't want to be close to a team fight, so he can throw out his ultimate from a large distance.
This is Shelby.
Yeah, he's going to get stunned, but uses the tunnel beforehand. There's the ultimate, gets the slowest. Shelby has to flash. Bullet dodged, third bullet dodged at the same time as he's trying to get away. Does get himself a decent knock-up as Chenny is going to turn up. Weaver's Wall comes in, good pillar at the same time. And Shelby just says, it just can't.
Even the minions are like, we're free.
And Choose decided not to go with his wall towards that top side.
Yeah, they didn't get the kill. Unfortunately, too many things missed. There's now mid lane. Lots of damage out of Chenny now.
Does have that 2-item spike. Looking good with the Iceborne Gauntlet. Not able to find too much though. Still 2.7 thousand gold lead for Legacy, but that has been the story for the last 7 minutes of this game. AV consolidating quite nicely.
Yeah, just holding it down. They're getting towards item spikes that their team composition is definitely avidly searching for. Legacy are still content with scaling themselves. So we've spoken about what AV have, but any Jhin composition is going to scale in some capacity. I guess the major concern is that Choose playing Talia doesn't have as strong a late game as Triple on the cast, where all of AV will meet late game with open arms.
Yeah. How about Riven? I haven't had a how about Riven in late game conversation with anyone for quite some time. We haven't seen her very much in competitive play.
I mean, Riven builds damage, so she's always going to have a relevant late game. Like, tanks scale off.
Yeah.
To a degree, I think that Riven's late game's good once she gets like a GA in her build, which is like maybe 3 items or 4 items, depends on the Riven.
We'll see how Paradise decides to build this one. Looking for the Ravenous Hydra for his next option. 30% CDR already built up. We'll see whether a Death Dance is going to come in there to finish off that 40%. I personally would like it because I love that item as an Alawi player. Big fan.
One of those guys, huh?
Yeah. A jerk.
Hey, Swipe is not a jerk.
Hey, no, he's not, but I am. It's Paradise. Choose looking for the Rylai's slow, doesn't get it. Seismic Shove not going to find him either. So it was quite close.
Yeah.
Pillar comes in. Jake
You're just in
stuck
trouble.
in the wall. That is annoying. Spear is going to land. Jake does make it underneath his turret.
King had his ult
What the
there.
heck?
Come on, man. Use it.
He's trapped.
Force a summoner spell out of Jake. It was a Karma that could have flashed away. Instead, just hangs out in the wall and then walks out afterwards.
Yeah, just tanks a bunch of damage. He comes down. Seismic Shove avoided there by Paradise, who just cues his way away. Chenny uses the heal to make sure the Riven survives.
Yeah, still summoner spells used as, once again, Legacy looking quite forward. They're controlling the bottom side jungle near the blue buff and working from A to B consistently. That was a wall.
Yeah.
Those red lines are a wall. Well,
yeah.
they were.
I'm really perplexed as to what's happening here. Because it was slightly off. Yeah, okay. He just decided not to ride it through the trees there. I looked at the cooldown, and of course it stays up while you have it up.
Yeah.
Which confused the heck out of me, because I heard the wall and then didn't see any wall. And I was like, oh, you tricksy devil, you.
Well, which wall wins?
What, the actual
the
wall?
Talia wall goes through an actual, like, summoner's rift wall.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like chicken or the egg, I guess. It's just going to be a wall then.
Well, I feel like, you know, the League of Legends wall was probably there first. as far as the chicken of the egg conversation goes. That is a good point. Which should take precedence?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Which one will remain?
Are we writing over the wall with our Talia wall? Well, we'll find out next time. Hopefully Choose runs it through a wall one more time.
I don't think that's in his playbook, unfortunately. They are still trying to make those positive moves, though. Unfortunately for Legacy, they've been pushed out of their jungle, and they're now in.
Yeah, Jake once again going to get stunned up. Ultimate comes out this time from King. True Shot Barrage does a fair bit of damage, but Chenny has to get himself out of there. Easy pickings on the Karma, and AV cannot respond.
Legacy's damage is huge. King's just going insane at the moment. It must be a big item spike for them. Locks down everybody, basically, that gets touched by him. And now they threaten the mid lane turret.
Yeah, good seismic shove onto Chelby, who's still getting slowed. They do manage to take down this turret. Deadly Flourish doesn't find the Rek'Sai. Chelby has been swift-footed today. Triple does clear out the wave, so nothing more here for Legacy, but they just have so much control over both sides of AV's jungle. Now once again extending the gold, exactly right.
It's starting to creep out further. Legacy is starting to get more control than they already had through these picks, and it's the Jhin composition one more time. We saw a first pick priority on that champion, and this is exactly why. You hit a spear, you hit a Talia, spell it all, you hit a Trundle Pillar. They are locked down, and they die.
And he picked up that Duskblade actually quite some time ago as Chenny, oh my goodness, almost exploded by Choose.
Holy.
Whoa, thankfully Jake was there to speed him back up. That burst damage is out of control.
Yeah, if there's one thing Choose does have and Talia does have, it's combo damage just everywhere. Shows what it's capable of doing and coincides really well with the timing of the Drake. Of course, Legacy have had this bottom side vision for upwards of 5 minutes now. That reflects through a simple execute on a Drake.
Take that one down, equaling out those Cloud Drakes. Of course, the Ocean and Infernal might be a little bit more coveted by the team. They have already picked those ones up as well, and 5,000 gold is close to the lead here for Legacy. OPL Legends looking in control this game. They did against their tiebreaker, in their tiebreaker against the Direwolves. The business end, they're looking to really take these ones as seriously as they possibly can.
Still a lot of damage though from AV. Like that item spike that Chenny has, it was just a time-based item spike, so he's got the Muramana.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of burst. They still have the scaling damage with 3 big items completed on triple. All he really needs is the Seraph's Embrace to be upgraded. That tier would be fully stacked. Paradise is huge. Chelby's a very big tank at the moment as well with that Randuin's. Denying crit from Jhin means he can bear the brunt of all of that damage and will be a frontline force. AV still have a lot of tools there, but they just didn't win laning phase, and feels like one of AV's major strategies is having that laning phase won.
And of course, having Paradise win his laning phase is often the requirement at the same time. He certainly didn't at this point. Legacy now setting up vision around this Baron, but Rift Scuttler was taken by Chelby. So of course, immovable vision. Nice knock up onto Carbon here as Chelby goes in. True Shot Barrage finds Carbon as he has to flash to get out of the tether. Jake unable to lock him down, but big summoner spell now for Carbon.
Yeah, they also push them away from the middle lane. Choo-Choo's actually has to walk the long way to get there. And if they push this minion wave quickly enough, they will get a turret. But Legacy's response is less about defending mid, as you can see one attempt at it. It's more about pushing top.
Yeah, it's Paradise. He's going to get his attack speed increased as they take down this turret. Seismic Shove misses.
Or not.
There's the ultimate coming out of King, and they've got AV in a barrel right now. The bullets flying forward. Chenny gets slowed down. Nice shield to come out from Jake to try and get them out of here, but that Pillar's in a fantastic spot.
Oh,
the flash from Chelby there, looking for the engages. Chenny gets himself out of the way, and Chelby just goes a little bit too deep. Double kill for Choo-Choo's as Chenny, the spear lands from Carbon, and he picks up the AD. Exhaust comes down. Petrifying Gaze is just a little bit too late, and Triple's going to die. Paradise, last man standing as he's defending the top lane, but doesn't even save the inner turret.
And he's stuck in the 1v1, basically. Legacy just commanding Summoner's Rift. It took them 27 minutes to turn it on, but at the 30-minute mark, they don't look like slowing down. If Paradise steals this, it's not with an ultimate.
Yeah, it doesn't have the Wind Slash available to him. Pillar flies through, and Paradise says, yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to do this. A smite takedown. It's pretty powerful out of Carbon as well. I don't think the burst would have been rivaled by a Ribbon.
It's really hard to say gets the no button because it's always a yeah-nah button. We do get to see this again. Chelby gets bursted out by a dust blade, and as he dies, almost gets a kill from the Jin W as the spear during the remaining tool. And watch this turnaround from both Choose and almost Kuden. Triple doesn't get the stun onto the Talia. Very well played once again from Legacy. They are actually collapsing from flanks as well with a Jin composition. And that's uniquely powerful simply because he's able to hit the backline because he's on a flank.
Yeah, and also, it got to the point where Legacy had 2 members towards the top of that curtain call, and AV had nowhere that they could go safely and just had to eat every single bullet.
Yeah, Chelby's fight or flight response was definitely fight.
Oh yeah.
He was the only one who really could communicate that exact same thought, however. AV on the back foot, because that gold lead has just grown immensely.
Exploded. 10,000 gold now for Legacy. We're making a statement in game number 1 of this best of 5. Carbon in trouble, however, and Chenny does find the kill. Really nice Ezreal play as the Weaver's Wall gets Chelby out of position. The subjugate's there from Kuden. He's tanking up a lot as Paradise does make his way in. Decent positioning, but my god, another pillar's fantastic. Triple gets the ultimate, but it's a triple kill for King. The Jin's untouched in the backline, going ballistic. Well, not untouched, he's down relatively low, but he's just so safe. They're able to turn this into a turret.
Yeah, that 10k gold lead wasn't reflected by what the Baron's also able to give them, and so the Nasha buff comes up huge, as well as their damage and execution on teamfight. We're starting to see Chu's mastery of Talia actually reign supreme right now.
Yeah.
And Legacy, for a game 1, that experience actually proving invaluable.
It's fantastic. We are going to see this one again, though, as Chenny Boy does get himself a good kill.
And it starts with Carbon dead, so that's the crazy thing. Chelby's a tank, but he's not that tanky, unfortunately. Even King hitting the backline opposed to Chelby, he's able to just walk in and take one. The pillar as well from Kuden is sick, and whilst the Cassiopeia ult stuns this time, it still feels like it's too much of an afterthought. They're never using it to start fights off and follow up with damage from the cast. It's always a too little too late factor.
And that was a slight misstep from King as well, of course, walking very far forward into triple. But Kuden's pillars just kept King immeasurably safe.
Yeah.
Paradise just could not get on top of him.
He's on point with the pillars at the moment. Outstanding performance from Legacy's support. He's a quiet guy.
Yeah.
The mechanics speak louder than words. As triple, it's a bit awkward, honestly.
Yeah, a bit awkward. As you can see, the Weaver's Wall does go underneath regular walls. Nailed it.
They're just getting poked out now.
Yeah.
Jin ulti, Nidalee spears, Talia's damage in the Trundle pillars. Legacy's 4v4 team composition is really starting to shine. There is no answer from AV besides a hard engage, but with a Riven, I really do challenge that pick.
Well, this Infernal Drake is going down extraordinarily fast. AV were looking for a potential steal as Chelby tries to get in there, but can't do it. He just explodes to King's damage. Paradise in trouble as well, and he's going to die to the Dustblade King. Another series of kills here as Tally leaps forward, has the exhaust down as Chelby's just going to get obliterated. Talia picks up that kill as Jake's going to get stunned. King grabs a triple, is legendary now on the Jin as Legacy will now push forward. Looks like the inhibitor is in their sights.
At the very least, an inhibitor will be seen. The minions crashing on the bottom side of the map gives them availability for what seems like 2 inhibitors at the same time. Only Chenny standing. What is in the in the water at the Legacy house?
I don't know, man.
None of them get stunned by castles. They're all just mechanically just outplaying triple.
I tell you what, King has certainly had a heck of a lot of wheat picks this morning. I believe we've had a discussion about how many wheat picks a manly man eats. I think King, he could tell us exactly how much he's supposed to consume, because this guy's going off.
We worked out it was relative to the size of the bowl. A full bowl is a manly amount of wheat picks.
All right, got it. If you just can't fit any more wheat picks in, you're doing it right.
Exactly.
For a rough number, I'm going to go with 17, because this guy's 804.
Yeah, there you go, 17. That's a big bowl.
Also has no relevance to the numbers that I just read out as well, so riddle me that. But Tally, he's got 4 items, so he's gigantic at the same time. 0, 1, and 8, so has been sitting in that split push, but the fact that they've nullified Paradise is all he really needed. And there's the Equilibrium Strike that comes down. Stun comes in there too. Weaver's Wall means that no one can go anywhere. Look at all those structures set up to try and stop him as Triple out of vision range. Curtain Call doesn't find him, and one of the bullets held onto by King.
Yeah, and as if the Trundle Pillar wasn't enough, a Weaver's Wall actually just closes the door and slams it shut. Chelby out of position, just gets closed in on. And that was with his summoners up. He should have flashed safely. And now Legacy threatening in a 4v5 for 20 more seconds with the last remaining turrets on the top side of the map.
Oh my god, King now with 4 items built up, Infinity Edge being one of them, as well as the Rapid Fire Cannon. This guy does so much damage. You can see those 1,000 damage plus crits coming in, and that turret just gets stomped. And now, of course, with the Primal Surge coming in, that is a flat damage buff to King in that duration.
Certainly is. They break the turret. Now they're looking towards the last inhibitor.
Spear is dodged there by Jake, but AV holding on by the skin of their teeth right now. Every bullet is meaningful. Spear lands as Paradise is fighting Tally, but he gets the 1v2. Chelby in trouble as well, as Chu's looking to lock down the members of AV. Deadly Flourish avoided. Chelby has to flash, and AV relegated to their Nexus turrets. Carbon launches forward, deletes the supporters. Triple trying to find Chus, but he can't. King takes down Chenny in an isolated 1v1, and Triple cannot get the damage down. Legacy get themselves a clean 4 kills. And Chelby now has to sit on the fountain and wait for it to all be over.
A clean 4 kills and only 4 kills for the opposition team as well. It may have taken them 36 minutes, but that's a convincing Game 1 closeout by Legacy. They never looked like slowing down.
Yeah, and from the minute 1 as well, this team had control. You can see Paradise on your screen right now. Of course, this is a best of 5 series, so we have got plenty of time. AV, a lot of opportunities now to reset and not pick Riven.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I think we will readdress when we get into the next champion select as well. But draft could have been a concern. Play style as well, maybe not respecting the 6.15 patch changes.
Yeah.
The First Blood turret and Tally snowballing the game. There's a lot of positives at the moment that Legacy, they can just walk away with. But AV, they need to hit the drawing board and actually reassess.
Yeah, and understand exactly what you need to be doing in this early game now as well, just because you do really want to be rushing these turrets down or defending if people are going to be sending 4 members towards that top side. And that 5-minute mark, such an important point in the game.
Yeah, it definitely is. So AV need to once again start showing some respect and adapting, most importantly, to what was thrown at them. If AV can actually meet that adversity and find success, then we will still definitely have a series on our hands. But as far as Game 1 goes, that was pretty clean from Legacy.
Most certainly was, and it feels like it was a relative shutout from an early stage, and AV now have an opportunity to make sure that doesn't happen again, get themselves to a late stage that they're happy with, and put Paradise in a position to win at the same time, which is the most important. But we are going to throw it back to the analyst desk to break down the first game in this best of 5.
Thank you, Atlas and Rusty. Well, that is Game 1. Legacy tying up that first game 1-0 in the series. Let me start with you, Spawn. It was a frenetic start to the game. We saw 5 minutes in some pretty crazy lane swaps, right?
Yeah, we certainly did. I mean, we go to standard lanes, and I mean, Frost, I know that you're really interested in the King Kuden versus, Chenny as well as Jake down in the bottom lane. We did get the first blood down there. And, it was aggressive play, but what really interested me after that is that they went into this diverse strategy where, they recall at 5 minutes on the dot, they get rid of the fortification, they send 5 members top lane. And to me, that's such a ballsy call. I mean, if you don't get the turret, if you don't transfer it into a Rift Herald or something like that, if they're able to 3-man repel, you just get so much wasted farm across the map. That was really interesting out of Legacy. I like that they were willing to throw that curveball, but I don't think it's necessarily going to work out in the next couple of games.
Yeah, the scary thing about this is this idea that it can be telegraphed, like you said. Like, if you know that 5 minutes the fortifications are going to come down, they're timing their backs, suddenly 5 people have gone missing on the map, chances are that they're going to be top lane. It's very easy, like you said, to rotate your support, rotate your jungler. Suddenly it's a 3v5 scenario that early on in the game. It's very hard to dive a tower to look for a kill there. We also had this question that because it was Cloud Dragon, so what they did is they roamed up 5-man top. They were trying to get the First Blood gold on the tower, which they did get. They were also trying to pick up the kill gold on finding Paradise in the Riven, which he managed to get away, and then rotated into the Rift Herald. On the other side of the map, it was actually a Cloud Dragon. So the question is, if that's an Infernal Drake, is that still worth, and will we see that continue to be the trend for these teams?
And the other thing that really interested me is they picked the Riven, and that's a gauntlet. I mean, Riven doesn't seem much competitive player. I mean, Paradise is a very good Riven player, but at the same time, Riven versus Aurelia has always been a really sucky matchup as soon as Sheen's picked up. When you used to max E, on Aurelia. You would have to match it with an Emax on Riven as well because, you just couldn't out-damage the burst. You'd have to try and absorb a lot of it and get away, fight for farm, jockey for a level 13 engage, which is really awkward on Riven. So I do think that was a overreach from Paradise in the 1v1.
I want to talk about group fights, but first, I think the big elephant in the room as well we need to deal with is Legacy's jungler Carbon did not pick up any Keystone Masteries going into this game. Now, is that we should talk about the background of this, right? It's just nerves, it's semi-finals, you're playing not at your computer, but you're playing right here at the OPL studio. So, what's going on?
And to clarify, we give him time to set up.
Yeah.
So this is no one else's fault but Carbon. I mean, he was on stage doing a stage test. I was waiting for him to do an interview. I was watching him do his rune setup. So, he has everything there. This is just one of the things. A lot of people wipe their rune pages before going into games and reset it back up. I know that I do it as well. So, just a little bit of nerves or maybe going through some things with his team, not thinking about himself. Very selfless man, Carbon.
He's got to organize everyone else.
He still absolutely destroyed the Rek'Sai, so who cares?
Yeah, that's really the underlining point. Is it's actually a pretty big deficit to come back from not having your mastery on Italy. You can see him struggling in the jungle, but
still able to,
like Jake said, he pretty much crushed Chelby. So.
Yeah. All right, let's talk group fights right now. We saw Legacy just dominate several group fights throughout the match. Jake, why don't you talk us through the one in particular you wanted to pull out?
Yeah, let's bring up the mid lane team fight. I mean, this is where Avantgarde think they can siege. No, this is not. This is a one in the jungle, so let's just take this one. So Carbon gets caught out as we roll this one in. So Carbon, a little bit over-aggressive here, and he does get punished by Chenny. But this is all about King, and we already mentioned he's incredibly fed. Great Weaver's Wall comes across. They isolate the matchup, and then it's the inability of Chelby and Paradise to be able to get on priority targets and layer their CC. And you can see Great Pillar coming out of Kuden there. I mean, it just stops up all the aggression. King's able to pick up the triple kill. But when you run Rek'Sai and Riven, and I'm really disappointed we didn't get the other one because it all is about getting the knock up into the stun. And then with grounded, the grounded passive from Cassiopeia underneath, because that means they can't flash away from you. They have to turn and fight. And Rek'Sai and Riven thrive in that chaos. But AV just never were able to coordinate it.
And also on the other side, how cool that composition is. I mean, you constantly saw Legacy fighting in those tiny little corridors. That really cool moment where they took the inner mid tower where the Weaver's Wall came across and it trapped Cassiopeia in that long little tunnel. It's like fish in a barrel. So it was very nice to see them continue to build off of the creativity that we saw when Minky was on the team and bring it out in the semifinals.
All right, well, that is our analysis of Game 1 wrapped up. We'll be back right after this with Game 2.